So it looks like the Marvel Legends Engine of Vengeance Haslab Robbie Reyes in his human form early bird special has failed to meet its goal, soulmates. But where did this one go wrong, and can this Haslab still get funded? Be sure you stick around until the end, soulmates, because we're going to talk about what character we would like to see in this Haslab next. If you support what I do, please click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. Well, as we have seen, soulmates, on the 23rd of September, when the clock struck midnight, Robbie Reyes in his human form did not get funded because the requirement to get him was that the project had to be completely funded with 9,000 backers by the end of that night. And one has to believe that a lot of Robbie Reyes fans are more than a little bit disappointed right now, because the Haslab project comes with a charger that goes into street mode without all the special effects attached. And, well, Robbie Reyes in his human form would obviously be part of the draw for that. Now, it's absolutely a truism that you can take any old character you want and stick them in the car so they could use it too, as long as they're 6-inch scale. But let's be honest here, having Robbie Reyes in that package was really part of the selling point for street mode. But the lingering question right now, and well, there's a couple of questions honestly, but the first one is, where did this one go wrong? But I think the entire early bird concept that they decided to run with for this particular project was flawed from the very beginning. Well, why do I say that? Because I think the expectations were set a little too high for an offering that was not the most exciting of offerings. When we think about it right off, it is Hispanic Heritage Month, and keeping that in mind, Robbie Reyes should have just been in the package to begin with, because at $350 for the base offering, I think it would have warranted just having Robbie Reyes in there because. But the thing about the way Hasbro structured this early bird special is that it doesn't really work the way other early bird special offerings from other companies have worked. And the one that immediately comes to mind for me was Mattel's New Generation Ring that was being offered last year. That one came with a ring and diesel and a little ring entrance and some other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. But the early bird special offering they had for that one was the Macho Man Randy Savage. And, well, that's a pretty good early bird special to throw out there, because Macho Man, he's not nobody. He's a pretty popular wrestler. And very notably, he was a ring announcer at the time during the New Generation when it first began. So not only was he an exciting character, but it made perfect sense for him to be there. And with the Engine of Vengeance Haslab, it made perfect sense for Robbie Reyes in his human form to be there, but he wasn't the most exciting character to stick in an early bird special offering slot. I've said it, and a lot of other people have said it, the early bird special should have been Mephisto, and that would have gotten the job done plus some, because Mephisto is a very popular character. He hasn't seen a Marvel Legend before until the render that was revealed very recently for this project, but if they led with that, this project would have been sold easy. The other thing to consider with this early bird special is that it required that the project be fully funded in order to get him, and at the point that it has to be completely funded, that's not really an early bird special. That's just making it an extra tier with a deadline. What an early bird special is supposed to be is that the people who back it early within the time frame get that extra something. So with that WWE New Generation set that we were talking about earlier, if the entire thing didn't get backed by the date that the early bird offering was over, people still got the early bird offering even after the project was fully backed. And that is the key flaw on this Engine of Vengeance Haslab project. Now that we've reached the cutoff date and the project isn't fully backed, nobody gets Robbie Reyes in his human form. It just gets pulled out from everyone. And mind you, by the end of the night, when the clock struck midnight, the project had over 6,000 backers. Now it's not really hemorrhaging backers, but it's trickling down, losing some, and now it's below 6,000. The last I checked, it was about 5,800 something. So people are obviously upset that they're not getting Robbie Reyes in his human form, and well, rightfully so, because they got in on that early bird special, and honestly they should have gotten it. It's really lousy now that it's just being taken away from the people who are already there to back it, and this action figure might get released at some point in the future, but down the line it's probably gonna be at least a couple of years. Will this Engine of Vengeance Haslab still get funded, guys? Well, probably, soulmates, because the last couple of Haslabs have done very well, and Marvel Legends in general is a very popular line, so I don't see it not funding. But that said, the numbers are a little slow, people are coming and going, and the project is still about 2/3 of the way backed. But that is quite a few considering how much time there's still remaining. I think right now the real big question is how much damage this early bird special is going to do to this Haslab, and it might limit the potential for how much gets unlocked in the later tiers. And when I look at this early bird special and see the first big L of the Marvel Legends Haslabs, I think to myself that there really wasn't any reason for it, because an early bird special could have been handled so much better, but now it's kind of limiting the potential for success, because I think that people are going to look at this project and think to themselves what they could have had versus what they're getting now. And Robbie Reyes, for how unexciting he was of an early bird special, is going to be lingering in people's minds. I think what's really going to save this Haslab, quote unquote, is the quality of the other tiers, and hopefully they have something really big in store. They did say that it was just going to be 6-inch action figures, and well, we saw Mephisto, who's not exactly 6 inches. I think what they meant was 6-inch scale, but they didn't say scale, they just said inches. Still, there is some hope that we're going to see something really bombastic for those other tiers. Alas, we will not be seeing the motorcycles, which I think if they brought out the motorcycles, that this would be over with and done. The fan base has made it very clear that they want to see those motorcycles for the other Ghost Riders, and I'm surprised they're not doing them, because they're very, very popular, and it seems like everyone wants them. From where I'm sitting, it seems like a total no-brainer. Does it necessarily make a lot of sense with Robbie Reyes? I don't know if it makes a lot of sense with Robbie Reyes, but if we're just doing Ghost Rider stuff across the board, then yeah, you should just include the motorcycles with them. And if they're not planning on including the motorcycles with this Haslab, a great way to correct course would be to alter whatever plans they have right now and include those motorcycles with this project. If they were to include totally new, revamped motorcycles of Danny Ketch and Johnny Blaze, that people would be able to look past Robbie Reyes. You show off those motorcycles and the human form of Robbie Reyes is a distant memory. That might be a pretty intense solution and definitely not what they had planned, but considering the size of the L on this one with the human form of Robbie Reyes and the failure of the early bird special and that lingering in everyone's minds, I think that it warrants a pretty big surprise. Because you really don't want people backing this and then having that thought lingering in the back of their mind, oh yeah, I'm gonna back this, but man, I really wish I would have had that Robbie Reyes in his human form. Oh, no, you gotta pull out something so huge and cool that people don't even care about it anymore. And if we saw Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch's motorcycles as well as Blackheart, I think at that point, the project gets funded, no problem. All tiers get backed, no problem. Because I have heard my viewers, guys, and I know what they want, and more than anything, they have said all this stuff. They want Mephisto, they want Blackheart, they want the motorcycles, and everything else Ghost Rider related, isn't that big of a deal to them, but those things are. Now, if we don't see all of those things, and instead we see all 6-inch action figures, and they don't include Blackheart, I think this one will still cross the finish line, but it will be more of a hobble across the finish line instead of a sprint. Well, Soulmates, now that we've talked about the failure of the early bird special and how to fix it, what characters would you like to see from this Haslab next, if not Blackheart and the Ghost Rider bikes? Well guys, I would kind of like to see Deathstroke and Blackout. Those are two of my favorite Ghost Rider characters along with the Scarecrow, because I'm kind of a big Danny Ketch Ghost Rider fan. Well, Soulmates, what do you think of this Engine of Vengeance Haslab at this point? Is this one that you still want despite not getting Robbie Reyes in his human form? Are you on the fence again? Have you just stopped backing it altogether? I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And be sure you tell me what you think the best way to course correct after the failure of this early bird special would be, and also tell me who you would like to see in this Haslab next. If you'd like to learn more about the Haslab Mephisto reveal, you can check out that video here, Soulmates.